Hi everyone, I'm Honeywell, and today we're playing Surviving the Aftermath by Iceflake Studios, published by Paradox Interactive. The game is a really interesting mix of Banished and Surviving Mars, I think. Both games that we liked and played on the channel, so I hope there's some interest in this. The game entered into early access a couple weeks ago and is available on the Epic Games Store. It's not a public beta where they're just adding the finishing touches. The game is not finished, even though it looks very polished. And this is truly an early access title. Link is in the description if you want to check this one out. Now, I have started this game so many times it's not funny. What I haven't done is come anywhere near to finishing a game, so I'm by no means an expert and welcome any tips or suggestions you have, and I'll share the same with you. But now let's get started and see how we make out. Now, we like a challenge. You guys know that. So the planet is a barren wasteland. Sounds good, except it's a barren wasteland and it's ugly. We're going to go with nature prevailed, where we'll have beautiful green grass and lovely wildflowers. But it feels like the apocalypse never ended. Sounds good. Frequent catastrophes. I like it. Resources. After walking for ages, this is where they stop. Scarce starting resources. A group of ambiguous misfits, terrible people with awful traits, 6 adults, 2 children, sounds good. Insurmountable challenges face you, okay, it's the apocalypse, we'll go that route. Suffering or success, chaotic, no restrictions, anything is possible, gives us a difficulty rating of 89%. We'll go ahead and go with that. Most things on the channel are that color. A torch, sure. Ashford, no. 4 mile, yeah, 4 miles. Survive and thrive, under the shade, divide and conquer. What a bunch of terrible mottos. For a better tomorrow. Haven for all. This is 4 mile. 4 mile, haven for all. There we go. There's our starting screen. And now, yeah, let's see what we get. And here we are. The first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and hit the space bar. The speed controls are like you expect. Space 1, 2, and 3 for your speed controls. Tab gives you the world map. B opens up your build menu. And here is an interesting one that I found because my recording software used the F11 key, so I had to remap everything. But if you hit F11, look at this. There's some sort of overlays, and this looks right here, looks like the type of terrain. Keep hitting it, and now here we see some, looks like things in the pink are resources. Things are in the red are nuclear waste, I guess. I don't know. So it looks like there might be, I'm not sure if this is like a debug thing or if there's going to be some overlays added. Whatever this screen is, I have no idea. Maybe pathfinding. Again, no clue. Keep pressing 11 and you'll get back to the normal screen. That is the extent of the keys that I know. So if you know any tips or tricks in that regard, please share them. Also, the only other thing is this circle right here, control and your mouse wheel will enlarge that and reduce it. So now that we have all of the information that I know about the game out of the way, let's get started. Step number 1 is food, water, and shelter. And again, because we are only getting this tiny little pile of supplies to start with, we don't have a lot of options, and I happen to know that there is exactly enough materials for water and 2 survival tents, and I'm sure that's by design, so we're going to go ahead and go with that. Now, it's extremely tempting to zoom forward and head right towards the gate, because when you open up the gate, that opens up the possibility of getting more colonists, and we only have six workers. And it also, we can start exploring the map and get some resources and research, which of course we want. But on the best days, These people do not have a good work ethic. If you look at these people, I mean, they're just ridiculous. Snapped, a nasty fall left the spine damaged and movement stiff. Production speed minus 15%. Oh, this one's decent. Now here's something interesting. Do you see how now this person right here has a green thumb? Produces production speed 15% faster as a farmer. I would love to assign him to farms, but there's no control over that yet. So I hope that's something that they're going to introduce in the game, because they went through the time and trouble to give these survivors all these really interesting traits. But there's no reason to look at them because they don't matter if we don't have any control over them. So I hope they're going to do something interesting with this. But you can get an idea of some of them. Picky, hard worker. This is actually a pretty good bunch. I'm used to everybody being a bunch of like terrible people. But these look pretty good. They're mostly positive traits. Okay, but back to what I was saying. At the best of times, the survivors seem to idle a lot, play, get stuck, don't do their jobs, so they're not very productive. And that is exasperated by unhappiness, and if we leave them homeless for too long, it's going to really impact our production. So we don't want to do that. So even though they'll be perfectly fine sleeping on the ground for a little while, we're going to avoid that if at possible. So yeah, we're sticking to the basics. Long story short. No, long story, just a long story. Now, this actually looks pretty good, doesn't it? Let's see. We have a nearby metal deposit, a nearby plastic deposit, not that nearby, but they're not that far away either. And we have a nice swatch of really fertile ground over here. So first things first, food. We are going to take care of food, and small farm fields are free. And there's a bonus if they're put on fertile ground, so we're going to go ahead and do that here. This is kind of like a wide open here, isn't it? Well, first things first. This is where the gate comes out, and if you are new to my channel and you've never seen me play any of these types of games, you'll know that you won't know that I'm really obsessive about planning things out. Not that I get any better results, I just really like planning. So you'll see me play around there a bit. And what I'm thinking is, where do we want our farms? And maybe we want them on this level, because that huge nuclear waste, we're not going to be able to deal with that for a long time. So we're going to have to work around that, is what I'm thinking. That I don't like it. I kind of like... I wish there were some hotkeys for these building items. And I keep like wanting to right click to take things off, and which of course doesn't work. I'm thinking... I always start out with a line right here, and not having that there is feeling a little bit funny to me. So maybe we want to do... Now you can kind of do diagonals if you go like this, one at a time. Let's take these away to kind of fix the mess that we started out with. There we go. And now And there's no way to deselect. I keep trying to deselect by hitting right the mouse, which does not work, of course. It's a kind of wonky path. And the reason why we're doing this, any supplies that we get are going to, in order for our colonists to use them, they're going to head down to this gate right over here. And when they build the gate, they're also going to come right over to this left corner. So we're trying to give them as smooth a run as possible towards that. So we have that. I guess the thing is to start our farms right over here now. Yeah, let's not overthink it. No, I want them a little bit back from the road. And let's go right here. Now they get a little bit more production from fertile ground, so theirs might be yield a little less than it could potentially, but I don't care. It's still good because they'll come here and that will line up right here where they're going to unload that. So yeah. So there we go. There is 2 farms, and now we need shelters. And I think where we want to set them up is right over here, because we're going to be putting in, oh well, this is interesting. There's one back here, but no, I think we're going to want this plastic deposit first. And it looks like we'll be able to get a couple fishing huts in. R rotates the buildings. So we can put a couple fishing docks over here. Yeah, I like it. We'll have some farms, a couple fishing, maybe oh, we have these right here too. This is even better. Oh yeah, we definitely want to put fishing huts here. Oh, I've never had so much water so close to our base before. I don't even know if we'll bother with trappers. We might just do fishing docks. So yes, farms, fishing docks, and I guess we'll put our forester. I'm not sure. This is kind of a lot of fertile ground over here, so I think we can share this with a forester and a logging camp and the sawmill, all of that over here. I like it. So with that in mind, yeah, I think it's just logical to set up our houses over here. So let's do that. And we have materials for 2 emergency shelters. And let's see. Do we have any sort of lines that... Now, I plan all of this out like obsessively, but by the time we start playing, none of this is going to matter anymore. But just for the sake of trying to lay out something, let's draw a line from our farms. See if we can't come up with something neat and tidy. It's not going to be. All of my little shanty towns have been ugly. So let's see. One here facing this way, no, is not going to work. Okay, some excessive planning later. I decided on the places for our 2 tents, and this allows for more emergency shelters to be placed. And I planned all that out. I also planned for a spot for a water well because we're starting with small starting resources. We don't have a well, and we definitely need to get on top of our water situation. But now this is all of the things in step one. These 2 farm fields are going to take care of our food. We have a water and 2 houses. So let's see this get started. Now with the berries, the area, we're going to come over here and over here. But let's get some starting berries in. And really, I usually look for things that are going to be in our way, but nothing really is. So we're just going to take these 2 low-hanging fruit. And with this, anything in our way? No, nothing is in our way. This is really nice. Control mouse wheel, and we can have people start bringing in that. And other than that, we're going to let everybody get to work here. Now we have 2 farm fields. And the reason why we have 2 is because we start out with 2 crops, potatoes and corn. Now the corn is a faster grower, and that's gonna kind of take the place of our berries. We only have 6 people. So by creating these farms, we can kind of just set them and forget them. So we'll have a higher producing potato crop that takes longer to harvest, but it's less maintenance because someone's only going to have to tend to it every so often. But we want the corn harvest too, because we're going to use that to take the place of berries. Instead of having people go out all over the map to collect berries to feed people, we are going to let them set these fields, plant them, and then when they're done, they'll come back and they'll deposit them right here, so it's much more efficient. The only problem that I have with the farms, with the small farms, is there's only 1 employee per farm. So if this employee decides that he's one of the ones that doesn't want to work, yeah, who knows how long you'll be waiting for the food. Like this one right here. Where is she? She's working on the small field, but not really. So once we get larger farm fields, we'll want to put those in because they can use more than 1 worker, which increases the odds of something actually getting done. Now, let's get rid of some of this extra stuff that we do not need. Now with the water wells, the tooltip says that they lose effectiveness in close proximity, but that is not implemented yet. And to be honest, I tried spreading them out, and what I would find is our colonists, or our survivors, would go to the far-flung places and hang around these water wells. So frankly, I am willing to see what the penalty is for having them close together, and I might just overbuild these and live with that penalty. But it's not implemented yet, so it's not something we have to worry about. And there we are. We have 2 tents, water, food being produced. In the short term, we have them out gathering berries, but we're not gonna have everybody traipse all across the map getting berries. We're done with those for now. And now the supplies. Next up, you'll see that we're pretty much out of supplies except for the few that we managed to carry in while we were setting up camp. So now we have no resources really to build anything. So that is something that we are going to want to get set up. But that is going to be for the next episode. I think this was a good, I blathered a lot, and I'd love a chance to just look at the map without the pressure of recording, so I can town plan to my heart's content. But I think that is good. The basics are taken care of. Food, water, and shelter all done. So is this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and leave a like for more Surviving the Aftermath. But that is all for now. Bye-bye.